Buenas. Welcome to Cuba. Cuba is in the middle of its greatest crisis since its founding revolution, its founding communist revolution. And I'm from the United States, the country that is more or less causing that crisis. I'm here for the first time, and I'm here to see what life is like before the country potentially changes forever. I want you to join me as we explore Cuba. Vamos. Alright, so here we are in Cancun, not one of my favorite places, and we are about to take one of the only flights that is still going to Cuba. We're gonna have to say goodbye to the Western brands like Starbucks. Not gonna be seeing those over there. Maybe I should pick up some food. So it's a pretty desperate situation in Cuba, from what I've heard. Sweet and salty mix. Got all the gringo favorites right here. Vamos a Cuba. No hay comida.
No.
Okay, adios, gracias. Alright, this will have to last me for a week or so. Okay. Entendido. Now, of course, the situation right now in Cuba is not at all a joke, and it's no laughing matter. I feel a lot for the people. There's a lot of opinions. There's a lot of opinions about Cuba in the United States. I'm not taking any political party side. I just want to go there. I want to see the island myself for the first time. Por aquí? Okay. Thankfully, nobody yells at you in Mexico to turn off your camera.
Demostrarán importantes procedimientos de seguridad.
Hooray, we didn't crash. Gracias. Viva Mexico. Viva Mexico. I can't believe we're in Cuba right now. Alright, welcome to Havana. It seems relatively normal, except for the 2-hour-long security check. Un momento, señor. And here is the currency exchange. She's not even wearing shoes. Alright, here is some Cuban pesos. Very confusing money situation here in Cuba. Maybe a little bit less confusing than it was before. Everything takes a long time, that's what I'm realizing. Let's go get a taxi.
Habana.
Habana.
Serían 40 pesos todo.
¿Y vos? ¿Cuánto cuesta? 35. 35. ¿El centro histórico está lejos de acá? Sí. Por eso? Sí. 35? 35. I have no idea if I'm getting ripped off right now. But, you know. Welcome to Cuba. And joining me on this communist adventure is someone from a former communist country.
I'm not a communist though.
Say hello again to Simona. She's back again. She's still trying to make YouTube videos. It's gonna be fun. Okay, bueno. I don't know if the taxi drivers are arguing with each other. Huh? Good car?
$20 para donde vaya.
$20?
Sí. Tu precio.
$20?
He offered 35 and he's now trying to
he said 20.
offering 20.
He said 20, but I don't know if it's serious. ¿En serio? ¿$20?
No, amigo, no, es mentira, mentira.
No es posible.
No hay benzina.
Ah, qué bueno. ¿Cómo está la vida en Cuba últimamente? Es nuestra primera vez.
¿Es primera vez que viene?
Sí.
Bueno, un poco caro.
Sí.
El tema de los apagones abundan bastante.
Hay muchos apagones.
Poco combustible y el que hay caro.
Sí. ¿Hay apagones todos los días?
Todos los días.
Todos los días. ¿Y en toda la ciudad?
Bueno, más o menos. Hay algunos lugares que la ponen rápido, otros no.
Sí. Alright, arriving. It's kind of wild how Cubans know what Airbnb is. We just climbed up 5 flights of stairs. Okay. Wow. Es lindo, pero no veo nada.
El que habla español más o menos.
Sí, sí.
Una vista bonita. El baño.
¿La electricidad viene de un generador o...?
No, ahora que hay la luz.
Ah, ok.
Ah.
De la ciudad.
Sí.
Bueno.
Cuando se te vaya,
Sí.
el frigidaire y el split del cuarto te sirve.
Ah.
Lo único que no te enciende es el de la sala.
Ah, bueno.
Él hace automáticamente el cambio. Usted no tiene que tocar nada.
All right, so this is a multi-room Airbnb in Havana in 2026 as the country is being crushed economically. There seems to be power, but man, how trippy is it to be in Cuba for the first time right now? I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. For some reason, I thought this was gonna be like coming to North Korea or something like that. Remains to be seen. Remains to be seen. Whoa. So we just heard like a circuit breaking kind of noise, and the whole city is off. The whole city is off.
Didn't she say this area was supposed to not have blackouts?
I don't think there's anywhere in Cuba that doesn't have blackouts anymore. All right, buenos dias, good morning from Havana. And as you can see, this place is pretty nice. I would say this almost has to be luxurious, surely by local standards. But let me show you this right here. This looks like a super nice, fancy little shower. No water. No water. Still no electricity in much of the apartment. This place does have a little generator that gives you like AC while you're sleeping. Thank God for that. But yeah, it doesn't matter where you stay apparently in Cuba nowadays. You're affected by the situation. Breakfast. Trying to find my sunscreen. When you arrive in Cuba, they take, even if you checked in your luggage, they just take the bag, they go through the entire thing, they mess everything up. They just intimately get in there. It kind of feels like you've been violated coming into Havana, I'm not gonna lie. So the building is actually 5 stories. And there's currently no water in the building in any of the taps, so I think the first mission for today, first very communist mission, is to go find some water. Ready to go find some water?
Yes.
Like back in the day in Czechoslovakia. Let's go. Hola, che, una pregunta. Queremos comprar agua. ¿Hay una tiendita o algo?
Mira, subieron aquí a la esquina.
Sí. Ok, gracias.
Gracias.
¿Qué es eso?
¿Eh?
¿Qué es todo esto?
Esto es para orinar, ¿no?
Ok. Parece como una arma o algo.
No, no, eso no es arma, eso es para montar cosas.
Para montar cosas. ¿Vas a venderlas? Ah, entiendo. Gracias,
¿Verdad?
You just see a lot of people walking around doing odd jobs here. You also see a lot of people speaking Cuban Spanish, which is really hard to understand. Alright, here we have what looks like a little local market. ¿Se vende agua aquí? No, no hay. ¿No hay agua? Botellas de agua, no hay. So as you can see, this is not something I expected. You can't even buy a bottle of water anywhere here in Cuba. Hola, buenas. ¿Agua? No tenemos agua. To my untrained eye, this kind of just looks like a regular suburban neighborhood, but it's extremely lively. Like everybody's out, everybody's talking. Maybe it's just the Caribbean. Oh. Señora, ¿por qué hay tanta basura en la calle?
Porque no hay tanque y se tiran ahí.
Ah, no hay.
Echarla y la gente la tiran afuera.
Ah, por eso. So they have no fuel to send the garbage trucks out, apparently. All right. We're getting, before we die of thirst,
Water, please.
we gotta find a bottle of water. This must make you very nostalgic. just lacking every kind of product. True communist lifestyle.
Gracias.
All right, it's a miracle. Found water. Tenemos agua. Menos mal. Actually, a fun thing about this water bottle is apparently it was made in the USA. It said it was bottled and distributed by Blue River Springs, Florida, which, that's unusual. Was it actually bottled in the United States? Or are they just using that for prestige? ¿Qué tenéis? ¿Aguacates? ¿Son maduros? Está bien. ¿Cuánto es?
350.
350. Is this how they handled trash back in Czechoslovakia back in the day?
I have no idea. I don't think it was that bad. We had communism, but it was like a little bit different.
You had a slightly higher premium level of communism.
Yeah, we had different problems.
Honestly, it is so very surreal to be here in Cuba. You can look at like a lot of these houses and you can just imagine, you know, they date back to before the revolution. You just have to imagine what life was like. The purely communist system in Cuba has already ended. That is to say, not every job is a government job. There is some private industry. Oh. What's going on over here? ¿Podemos tirarnos adentro? So this appears to be like a public viewing area for the World Cup games. By the time you're watching this video, the World Cup is probably over. I don't know who won. Hopefully it was Argentina. Argentina. Sorry. I know everybody hates them. Perdón, la Plaza de la Revolución, ¿están para allá? Ah, bueno. ¿Cómo va la vida?
Bien, bien.
Bien, bien. ¿Van a mirar los partidos ahí?
Sí.
¿Sí? Ah, qué bueno. A las 4, Francia y Marruecos, ¿no?
Sí.
¿Ustedes van para quién?
Allí.
Sí, pero ¿quién apoyan? No importa, ok. Gracias. All right, finally got an opportunity to take a shower. 3, 2, 1, here we go. I think you just gave the like pancreatitis or something. You can see another man right there driving by with some solar panels. Clearly Cubans are taking, you know, drastic measures to provide their own electricity. No puedo comprar, Estados Unidos.
Everybody, people in Cuba, I love American.
Está bien.
Original de la fábrica.
Está bien, está bien. Hasta luego.
What's your name? ¿Tu nombre?
Tommy.
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 Ah.
Sí.
Encantado.
So an hour later, the rain is finally settling down. This whole time, we've been right across the street from this giant cemetery. Guess what the cemetery is called? Se llama el cementerio Cristóbal Colón, ¿no?
Sí.
Cristóbal Colón está enterrado aquí.
No.
The Christopher Columbus Cemetery is flooded. Fun fact, Christopher Columbus was originally buried in the Dominican Republic. But then the French conquered the part of Hispaniola where he was buried. And the Spanish, considering him to be a national hero, they decided to move him to Cuba. And he was buried here for a period of time. Then finally he was exhumed again and then brought to Spain. So there you go. ¿Tiene cuántos años de esta iglesia?
1871.
1871, before the revolution.
It used to belong to the Catholic Church, but the revolution nationalized it.
Okay, so now it belongs to the Cuban government. In the years following the communist revolution, like other communist countries, Fidel Castro kind of copied them and he instituted state atheism. They tried to stamp out Christianity in the country. But it saw a revival over the last 3 decades. All right, now that the sun has come out, what I want to do is walk down to the Plaza de la Revolución. And not far past there is the old historic center of the city. Kind of want to see if the electricity situation, the overall situation is a bit better over there. So over there, of course, you have the faces of the leaders of the communist revolution, Mr. Che Guevara and Fidel Castro. And then up here, you have a much larger monument to the forgotten Cuban Revolution, the one in 1895. The Cubans wanted to rise up against the Spanish and have their own country. That is Jose Marti. He died trying to liberate the Cubans. Havana does kind of have this grandeur, this kind of epicness that I feel like you don't really have in the other Caribbean countries. It is the biggest one by far, both population-wise and size-wise. You can feel that while you're here. A fun fact that many don't know is that the US government actually initially supported Fidel Castro as he was taking over Cuba, leading his communist revolution. The US wanted to see another country with democracy. Before Castro, Cuba was a military dictatorship. Then Castro came into power, basically started executing his political opponents, former allies of Batista, and worst of all, by the US government's perspective, they started nationalizing all the land that US companies held in Cuba. Apparently foreigners held up to 90% of the farmland in Cuba pre-revolution. So that's wild. Cuba is at the brink. On the one hand, you have those that blame Cuba's situation on US interference and the infamous blockade. On the other, you have those who blame the Cuban government for its refusal to change. It feels like all this is being driven by someone with a narrative that they want you to believe. The problem is, people tend to read only the first article they come across, missing out on the bigger picture. And that's why you need today's trusted sponsor, Ground News. Their app and website helps you sort out the truth. Where you get your news from heavily influences your worldview. Ground News gathers the world's news from the US, the EU, China, and even Cuba, so that we can understand the news from every perspective. The main news sources in America and Europe are becoming more and more biased. You need a tool to help you think for yourself, and Ground News is the best choice for that. I highly recommend them so that you can have more informed conversations on the issues deeply dividing society. So go to ground.news/seb or scan my QR code so that they know that I sent you. My wonderful viewers will save a massive 40% off the vintage plan, the same vintage plan that I use myself, and get access to all of its features. And as always, I only work with brands that I actually respect. So by supporting them, you're supporting me and my crazy adventures around the world. So thanks. And you'll figure out why I'm wearing this hat in about 2 videos from this. Let's get back to Cuba. Alright, we're getting a little tired of walking through the scorching sun. We're going to try out taking a taxi in Cuba.
Where are you from, sir?
New York.
New York. En mi triciclo, ¿puede ser?
Ah, o sea, no es un taxi, es un...
Sí, a ver. Taxi oficial,
sí.
Habla español. Son un poco
Sí,
más
sí.
caros por el tema del combustible. El triciclo es más barato.
Más barato.
¿Ok?
It sounds fun, but for
I get a
$10, no, that's way too overpriced. $10 should
Ellos
be the
dicen
price
que
for a
son poco
cab.
caros y es
No,
eso.
no. Esto es un poco más caro porque son taxis oficiales.
Sí.
¿Ves? Este es más
I know the
barato.
prices, bro.
Okay. Dale.
He's coming with us.
¿Vos no sos el chofer?
No, yo trabajo con él.
Ah, ok, bueno. Ahora ustedes son juntos. Bueno. So our finder has gotten off the rickshaw. He's been paid now. Cubans that work in the tourism industry, they actually make more money than probably anyone else in the country. More than doctors, engineers. So this is the old Havana. This is where you would traditionally see all the tourists who I guess would mainly come from Europe, Canada. In the last decade from America, it became possible to come over
nieta.
No hay muchos turistas hoy en día, ¿no?
No,
Solo nosotros.
poquito, sí.
Bueno, por lo menos hay dos.
Ya.
Hasta luego. Yeah, these days it's just a lot quieter. Just a lot quieter. Cuba actually went through a period after the revolution where it didn't allow its own people to leave the island, and it didn't really allow tourists either. It was just Cubans. Tourism only really started up in Cuba in the 90s after the Castros lost the support of the Soviet Union. So the World Cup is going on right now, and this guy's taking us to like the only place that's playing the game. Aquí? Saying there's literally no tourists right now.
Abren después del mediodía, lo que es después de almuerzo,
Sí.
para que se comuniquen la gente, para que empiecen a ver el fútbol y todo eso. Pero ahora no electricidad,
No hay electricidad, por eso.
ahora no electricidad. O sea, ¿son pintadas o tatuadas? Pintadas.
She's asking, do you have makeup on?
¿Son pintadas?
Sí. Sí, son iguales.
No tatu.
Son iguales.
Pintadas.
Makeup.
Sí, pintada, sí.
Simona,
Simona.
my best friend.
Exacto.
Simona.
Sí.
Ya.
¿Y las tuyas son tatuajes o pintadas?
pintada también.
No, pintada también. ¿No?
Ya, ¿y tú?
Soy Tomás,
Tomás.
de los Estados Unidos.
Estados Unidos.
Sí.
United States.
Nueva York.
No, nosotros no.
No,
Ellos.
Sí. Entonces, es un problema de gobierno.
Espérame, ese es el problema
¿De
de
Bolivia?
Sí.
nosotros.
No, no,
No
no.
tenemos nada que ver con eso. Ni ustedes ni nosotros somos seres humanos.
Exacto.
En el mundo
Exacto, sí. Somos humanos.
Blanco,
Brother,
negro,
ya.
blanco, negro, niño, grande, chiquito, todos somos iguales.
¿Hay jugo? You want the juice?
The juice and coffee.
He says there's no coffee at all.
No coffee at all.
Yeah. Problema de la electricidad.
Lo llevé a casa Cuba que quieren ver el fútbol.
No hagas eso.
Now our restaurant hustlers are arguing with each other. Está bien, podemos tomar un café con leche más tarde. Gracias, mi amor. It's one of those awkward situations where you know they're fighting over like the one tourist that's still in the city. What an experience. All right, and here we go. Yep, a Cuban sandwich in Cuba, made by a place that has no electricity. All right.
Acá, one
$8 is 8 for these stuff. He's saying it's 8 for both of them. You take that.
Yes. Get it. Yes. Amigo.
Alright, listo. It's a crazy situation here because you know there's like no tourists. You know you're in Cuba. There's not much money going around to begin with. But it's kind of annoying. Alright, just paid for my meal with some euros I had left over from my trip to Italy. Let's hit the city. Hasta luego. Sí. Para guardar las cosas, ¿no? ¿Hay muchos robos aquí? ¿Ladrones? ¿Hay muchos ladrones? I thought Cuba was safer. There you go, zip it up.
Yeah, I know.
Sí.
¿Es posible mi café? Si tú me puedes
Bueno, uno para usted. Uno para usted. Not gonna lie, there's a lot of places you walk around in Havana and it just smells like shit. And then you turn around and there's a giant trash pile.
It's also us, it smells like shit because we haven't showered in forever.
And that's also true. I haven't taken a shower in going on almost 48 hours. ¿Dónde están tus padres? I would never do this in any other country, but Everybody's coming now. Look, this is what happens.
Ve para allá, venga a mí. Ven para allá.
Uno para vos. Uno para vos. No hay más. Ok. ¿Y qué decís? ¿No vas a decir gracias?
Gracias.
Okay, good. And here's a bus stop, but I'm not really sure if the buses are still running. That's it. ¿No hay autobuses?
No,
¿No?
no bus.
No bus.
Bus.
¿Por la situación? ¿No hay combustible?
No hay combustible.
Okay.
¿Te hace falta un taxi?
Alright, so there's no more buses in Cuba. So we're gonna have to probably get ripped off again, taking one of these rickshaws.
Gracias for me, 1,000.
Los cubanos ganan como 10,000
¡No!
al mes.
Ojalá. Mira, aquí, yo te digo la verdad, aquí en Cuba, el trabajo nada más, al mes ganas 3,000 pesos. Es tremenda mierda. En Estados Unidos, al mes,
3,000 al mes.
aquí en Cuba.
¿En serio?
Sí, en Cuba.
Estás pidiendo el tercio de todo el salario.
No es todo el salario. Ya viene para acá.
Mira. Primero quiero ver el taxi. ¿Dónde está el taxi?
Claro.
Sí. Veamos el taxi primero y después te doy algo.
Antes pasaba la guagua, ya la guagua. El bus.
La guagua es el bus.
El bus. Y,
La palabra cubana.
sí,
Okay.
¿Hablas cubano o hablas español?
Son lo mismo, ¿no? Pero ustedes tienen palabras diferentes. $8 está bien. Ok. Esto es para vos. It's like playing Resident Evil or something. Trying to return to your apartment. Walking up the 5 flights of stairs. They don't do elevators in Cuba. Alright, so back at the apartment, and there's good news and bad news. As you can see to my left over there, electricity is back in the city. That's wonderful, 24 hours later. But, just as I was about to celebrate and take a shower, you know what happens now? There's some kind of like gas leak happening over here. It smells like rotten eggs, so I think that's like propane. Is this building about to explode? What tragedy will happen next on this trip to Cuba? Yeah, aquí están las llaves. Gracias.
¿Todo bien? ¿Le gustó? La estancia a pesar de...
Bueno, la situación es complicada, pero me gustó. Alright, so after another night of no showers, I'm sure I'm smelling lovely. We decided we're gonna go to another part of Cuba. We're gonna get out of the capital, and we're gonna go over to a city called Cienfuegos. Why are we going there? Well, it's supposed to be nice, but also I want to take you somewhere very historically important in Cuba. I want to take you to the Bay of Pigs. Hopefully, the situation is not even worse outside the capital. I've kind of heard that. So, transportation in Cuba is shockingly very difficult at the moment. A lot of the buses that would take you between the cities, they're not running now. A lot of the buses in the city are not running. So, in order to save some time, we're taking a taxi. Not cheap. Never seen in any country so many people waiting on the side of the road. Some of them look like they're waiting for fuel. Some look like they're selling stuff. Cuba, what a situation. So our driver is just yelling at some random dude in the middle of the highway because he thinks he has petroleum. So I guess that dude over there just kind of like flags cars down to let them know they're selling fuel on the down low over there. ¿Cómo sabías que él está vendiendo petróleo? ¿Cómo sabías?
nosotros echamos aquí siempre.
¿Es así?
Sí.
Ok.
Nosotros todos los días echamos aquí.
Ah.
¿No ves? Nosotros, y del otro carro que paró, también.
Oh, ya conoces.
Claro, todos los días.
Por eso. So he already knows.
Desde ahí adelante hay muchos que echan, pero yo paro siempre en el conocido, en el que yo echo todos los días. Por eso
ellos son de confianza.
Claro, por eso pasé y había muchos para allá, pero no les paré. Porque tengo más confianza con ellos.
Pero, ¿de dónde sacaron el petróleo?
Ellos se lo compran a los camioneros.
Ah, ok. ¿Los camioneros son como del gobierno?
Sí, del gobierno y de mis pymes también lo venden.
Ah, ok. ¿Y no hay petróleo en ese lugar ahí?
Nada.
Nada. Oh boy, all right. I'm starting to get a little tired of Cuba. So we just got here. This is probably one of the nicer places you could stay in the city. There's currently no Wi-Fi in the whole country. This is the entire national network just shut down. There's currently no electricity. Cuba, yeah, it's just how it is here. And it's kind of hard to know who to direct your anger at exactly. I mean, I know a lot of people probably want to direct their anger at the U.S. for making the lives of the average Cuban so difficult, preventing Cuba from getting fuel. But let's be real here, all right? This country has had a authoritarian government for 70 years that has severely restricted the freedoms of its own people. People here make $10 a month. It's just, why can't Cuba just be like China? You could still say fuck you to the US, but you could make your people rich. There's a better way to do it. There's a big commotion right outside the window. Al banco. There's just this huge gathering of people right over here. ¿Qué pasa aquí? ¿Por qué hay tanta gente? ¿Plata? ¿Están pagando los salarios? Okay. I guess it's payday. Cubans officially earn around $10 a month. Of course, nobody could actually live on just $10 a month. Of course, as you may have heard, the Cuban government is officially Marxist, Leninist, and workers do not subsist just off of their salaries. The Cuban government subsidizes everything from healthcare to education to, interestingly, food. They're given something called a libreta, and every single month, every Cuban gets a supply of rice, vegetables, other food staples. Apparently it's not enough to live off of for an entire month, but you can see how the Cuban government in practice tries to take care of everyone and ends up just giving everyone kind of a less than mediocre lifestyle.
You speak English?
I speak English, yes.
And where are you from?
New York.
New York, United States?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't have this opportunity so many times to speak English with
Right.
people from the States.
Okay, yeah. Well, go ahead. How's life here?
Life here now in Cuba. What's your name, by the way?
Tommy.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
The life here is very hard for us now.
Yeah.
Also, we have a lot of blackouts. We have no electricity because of the blockade. There are other problems, not only the blockade. There are problems inside the government.
Yeah.
Because then you go to the government and they have everything. They have the gasoline to go with the cars everywhere.
Yeah.
They have food. They have no blackouts.
Yeah.
They have electricity 24 hours per day. Of course, they have to work.
Yeah.
But they don't have the same situation like people like me. For example, Tommy, in my own case, I live with my family. I live with my wife, my 2 kids, and my mother. Yeah. My mother, she's retired. So between me and my wife, we take care of her, and we take care of the kids. But My salary per month is, let's say in dollars, like $20 per month.
Okay.
It's almost nothing. And my wife, she gets $18. And sometimes it's very hard for us to buy the food and everything, and I don't have a lot of free time.
How do Cubans live with just $18 a month? Does the government give you food, or what do they do?
We have a ration book.
Yeah.
In every neighborhood, there is a store with the ration book. We buy with the ration book.
La libreta.
La libreta. But there is no products. They're supposed to give us every month like 5 pounds of rice. We buy for very cheap price, at a reasonable price, according to the salary.
Yeah.
But it takes 2, 3, 4 months that we don't receive anything. They don't give us anything, no sugar, no salt, no rice. So then we have to buy this in the market.
Yeah.
Expensive. And we have to pay a lot.
That's terrible.
It's terrible. For example, a package.
Has it been worse in the past, like 3 years?
3 years, almost 3 years by now to now, it's worse and worse and worse.
Do you have children?
I have 2 kids. I have a boy of 5 and a girl of 7. But well, we hope in the future things will change then.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Do you realistically think things could change then?
Yeah, I believe in that. The old people that made the revolution, they are 80 years old, 90 years old.
They don't want to give up.
They don't want to give up. And then you have to realize, they have to notice that things are bad, that they need change.
Yeah. Did they make any changes? I heard there was some changes
A
recently.
little bit changes. But the people that can do that change, I mean, they can open like private business. It's not private, it's half government, half private.
Okay.
These people that do that, they have family in the United States, for example, they send them money to open the restaurant, the bar, the cafeteria, coffee shop.
Yeah.
And not everybody can afford to do that, because of the money to invest.
Of course, yeah.
And it's very, 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 very difficult.
So these are all like government workers?
Yeah, government workers.
They don't work in the private sector?
They don't work in the private sector. It's from the government. They work for the government.
Oh, okay. So how many times per month do they pay them?
Once a month.
Once a month? So they don't give the whole salary then?
They don't give the For example, if they have 5,000, they cannot say the 5,000. They can say only 2,000.
All right, take care.
Thank you very much.
I hope everything gets better here.
I hope so. I think it's only thing like that. Thank you for that.
It is a very unusual feeling to give $1 to a middle-aged man with 2 kids who is fully employed with 2 jobs. But yeah, just imagine the surrealness of this. People lining up to pick up $2. What is this country doing? And the worst thing is, obviously, I want to give money to like all these people here, but I can't. I'm just one person. One of the wild things about Cuba with their fuel shortages, and probably even in normal times, is there's so few traffic that I can walk right in the middle of a busy traffic circle, a busy traffic intersection, and feel completely comfortable. I don't feel like I'm gonna get hit by a car or something. And here you go. The revolutionary communist messaging is in every city. Cienfuegos por más victorias. Siempre hasta la victoria. That's what you'll see written everywhere here in Cuba. Always towards victory. Another trippy thing is, as you can see over there, you'll see like the same kind of giant commie blocks you would see in like Russia, China, Eastern Europe. Obviously, the Soviet Union was Cuba's biggest ally, and they had a big influence on the urban planning here. Alright, so we're on our way now to the Bay of Pigs. Driving another old classic. Jefe, ¿este carro es de los años 80 o...?
De los 90.
De los 90.
Del 90, vaya.
Ah, bueno. This man's pushing it at like 90 miles per hour. ¿Quieres agregar una persona?
Sí, pues un poquito.
Un poquito.
Oh, we're riding with a cop?
Okay. Sí.
No
problema.
No hay problema. No. Buenas.
Buenas.
¿Usted es policía? Ah, bueno. ¿Cómo se llama este pueblo?
Yaguarama.
Yaguarama. Ah, bueno. So our driver just picked up a random police officer, a hitchhiking police officer, only in Cuba. ¿Usted trabaja aquí?
No, vivo aquí.
Ah, vives aquí, ok.
Trabajo en el punto control de Aguada, allá en la autopista.
Ah, por eso. Bueno, hasta luego, un gusto.
Que tenga un buen día.
Buen día. ¿Las policías aquí no tienen carros o ni nada? Ah, bueno, es la primera vez que veo eso. Everywhere we're traveling here, you can see people like staring at this taxi because there's literally no other cars on the road. Everybody's literally going by like a horse and buggy, maybe like an electric little tuk-tuk if they're lucky. So here we are, the Bay of Pigs, the very famous Bay of Pigs, where the United States tried to organize a group of Cuban exiles and take over the Cuban government. This was just after the communist revolution in Cuba, just after Castro had taken power. He hadn't fully turned to the Soviet Union just yet, but this was a turning point. In true communist fashion, nobody's coming over to tell me to pay for these beach chairs. It's for everybody, it's for the people. Oh, no, take that back. Homie over there just came over to tell me it cost 500 Cuban pesos, about $1 per person to sit on these chairs. Capitalism. It's taking over, little by little. Stepping into the Bay of Pigs. Sí, sí. ¿Se siente bien aquí? Sí, sí.
Estás arriba de la hierba.
Ah, sí.
Te vas a pinchar los erizos. Tiene que ser palo limpio.
Ah, sí. ¿Hay cangrejos o algo?
Sí, te pinchan los erizos.
Oh, no, look. She's saying there's crabs in there. Listen, I've got my whole life without getting crabs. Let's not start here in communist Cuba. ¿Ustedes son de aquí? Ah, bueno. Soy de los Estados Unidos. Primera vez en Cuba.
Tengo dos hermanos allá.
Sí.
Yo tengo dos hermanos allá.
¿Un hermano en los Estados Unidos? Ah, sí. ¿En Houston?
Y el otro en Tampa.
En Tampa, en Florida, claro.
¿Y quién de Estados Unidos vive allá? Los Yankees, New York. Sí, New York, exactly. Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones.
Sí, sí, sí.
Bobby Bellinger.
Exacto, exacto. I have no idea what he's saying, but yeah. ¿Y cómo va la vida aquí ahora? ¿Sí? Pero parece como un paraíso aquí, por lo menos. Paraíso con problemas. No hay combustible, no hay... ¿Hay comida?
No, tampoco, nada.
Tampoco.
No hay nada, ni corriente, ni comida.
Ah, ya, ya.
Sí, porque no puedes hablar porque te meten preso.
Tomás, con gusto.
Bueno.
¿Todo el pueblo está aquí ahora?
Ahora, hay vacaciones.
Vacaciones.
Sí.
Okay,
Porque no hay transporte.
Sí.
Los que viven lejos, no hay carro, no hay gasolina.
Ah, okay. Ah, sí, nadie viene ahora.
No, nadie.
Sí.
Bicicleta.
Claro, claro, claro. What a surreal experience. What a surreal experience. We are in Cuba. Possibly months, days before the regime falls or changes completely. And here's a more Eastern flavor of communist. Just hanging out, guarding our stuff. As capitalism comes to Cuba, there's more and more theft happening. They're starting to steal things more. One of the sad side effects.
You know, women in communism, they were supposed to just stay home and cook for the guys and do all the jobs of a housewife. So this is what I do here. I'm just fucking guarding our shit.
I haven't seen you cooking on this trip. Cuba really is one of the most surreal places in the world to travel. It especially like a few years ago, 10 years ago, but even now, you know, you just see people enjoying life without Wi-Fi, without phones, without, it's almost like a look back into the past. Those old cars are just the surface of it. But all of Cuban life is based around making the most of what you got, which is not much. ¿Qué hacen con eso? ¿Para hacer un embargo o algo? Okay. Damn, it is beautiful. It is beautiful. What a beautiful place to launch an invasion of Cuba, which is what happened here. For those that don't know, the Bay of Pigs was when the US, the CIA, yes, the CIA actually took part in this. The CIA organized some Cuban exiles. They trained them, they had them go down to Mexico, and they prepared them to return to Cuba and take over the government. It was supposed to be an invasion, but the US didn't want to send its actual military. Although they did provide Air Force cover. They bombed Cuba a little bit to help the exiles out. A few Americans died in the operation, but ultimately, the revolutionary Cuban government under Fidel Castro, they defeated the exiles. They captured most of them and killed the rest. It was a massive, massive propaganda boost for Fidel Castro. This basically was the defining moment that solidified his control over the country. Imagine, Cubans, imagine what they could tell them. We just defeated America. We defeated a US invasion. After this, Cuba went full speed ahead with relations with the Soviet Union. The Soviets began investing billions upon billions into Cuba. And most importantly, they started storing nuclear weapons here, which led to the Cuban Missile Crisis under the presidency of JFK, which was the closest the world ever came to nuclear annihilation. All because of this little island, just 100 miles off the coast of Florida. Now, for many in the world who dislike the US, Cuba is a symbol of resistance. It's the ultimate symbol of resistance. David versus Goliath. Just this little country challenging the greatest, most powerful country in the entire world. And 70 years later, they're still standing somehow. And I have to admit, you know, I'm far from a communist myself, but I am a bit of a rebel. And it is kind of cool. Cuba just has this cool aura. They got aura out the ass. But I wish we could go beyond that and look at what the Cuban government did after the revolution. Because if they were against the US and providing a good life for their people, that would be one thing. But when you're throwing people in prison just for talking about how life is here, those are not the good guys, my friends. Those are not the good guys. It is crazy though how there's like no marker or memorial that I could see, you know, to this event, this very important historical event. I don't know if like the government here would think like that's gonna inspire some more people to take up arms. Perdón, una pregunta. ¿Qué tenés aquí?
Agua.
Agua. ¿Es agua?
Y potable. Aquí para la trasladamos y todo aquí.
Ah, bueno.
Estamos así. Te los regalo.
Todos sus productos son prohibidos para llevar a los Estados Unidos. ¿Tienen pizza?
Sí.
¿Sí? ¿Puede prepararlo ahora?
Sí, sí.
Ok, bueno.
Dos.
Queremos una pizza. Bueno, dos aguas.
Ajá.
Y una cerveza cristal. ¿Son frías o...?
Sí.
Ok.
Where are you from?
The United States.
Bigger, ¿no?
Big Apple.
Yeah.
¿Tenéis familia en los Estados Unidos?
Yes.
¿Cómo llegaron? ¿Sabes?
Mi
mi familia, uno asilo político y el otro reunificación familiar.
Ah, bueno. No salieron en barco.
No.
Okay. ¿Y la pizza de cuánto cuesta? ¿De quesos solo?
400.
All right, here we go. We have a 70-cent Cuban pizza.
The most Italian-looking pizza of all times.
The most communist-looking pizza of all time. Let's go.
Oh my god. Doesn't beat Italy?
I would say objectively, this is probably the worst pizza I've ever had in my life. But it's still pizza, so it's not too bad. ¿Y es posible sacar los ingredientes ahora o es difícil?
Oh man.
No, man. Look at this. It's like a communist amphitheater. I mean, seems like it's being used as a dumping ground recently, but obviously for most of its existence, post-revolutionary Cuba did not have TVs or anything like that. So I guess you'd come out here, watch a little communist show, just be a good little communist. Being that we're very close to the Bay of Pigs, actually this might even be military related. These abandoned buildings that we're seeing along the coast used to be Cuban military. They used to be preparing for another American invasion. Una pregunta, ¿qué hace la gente aquí por trabajo en este pueblo? ¿Son granjeros o algo así?
Muy poco trabajo.
Muy poco.
Sí.
No hay trabajo aquí. Bueno.
El turismo no hay para trabajar en el hotel, no hay, las casas de renta no pueden alquilar porque no hay turismo,
Sí.
no hay transporte.
Nosotros tuvimos que pagar $150 para llegar aquí por el petróleo. Es imposible. ¿Trabajas aquí o...?
No, soy de Cienfuegos.
Ah, bueno. ¿Y el gobierno te da como comida o cómo funciona?
No, vine a ver a la familia, si no.
Ok. Bueno, perdón por la molestia.
Bueno, que la pasen bien.
Hasta luego. It's trippy. I think it feels like the only people that are working in this entire village are the guys running with the little stalls, the guys making the pizza. It legitimately feels like we're supporting the entire village. ¿Tienes agua?
Agua no.
¿Botellas de agua? No.
Refresco, limón, naranja.
¿Cuáles refrescos tenés?
Refresco de estos de grande le pongo. Naranja, limón.
Bueno. ¿Tenés 7-Up? No. 7-Up. Ese.
Limón.
¿Cómo conseguiste eso? Eso
¿viste?
de los Estados Unidos.
¿Estados Unidos?
Sí.
¿Usted es de la United States?
Sí.
¿De United States?
Un gusto.
Cubana. ¿Usted es de la United States?
Sí.
Más de eso.
400. Now that we're starting to travel more in Cuba, you can see there's almost like a perfect, almost exactly the same perfect racial mix in every single town. It's like the same proportion of white people, black people, and then there's like this group that's like a mixture between the two. I guess in that way, it's really the post-capitalist utopia in more ways than one. ¿Funcionan bien esos? Sí. ¿Tenés electricidad todo el día? Qué bueno. ¿Y cómo conseguiste esos? ¿Una donación? Bueno. ¿De quién? China. China donaron esos. Mira vos. Wow. Sí. Por todo el pueblo China donaron. Interesante. O menos mal para vos. Gracias. He said China donated all the solar panels in the town.
I heard China is like investing and donating a lot of stuff into countries, but then they're expecting to later get something in return.
¿Cómo se llama el caballo? Bairo. Beyond abandoned military installations, you'll also see abandoned properties all over the place here in rural Cuba and in the cities as well, all over Havana. In 2022, 2% of Cuba's entire population fled. They went to Nicaragua, one of the only countries that Cubans are allowed to fly to, and they tried to cross the border into the US, which many successfully did. This is the greatest crisis, perhaps in Cuba's history. Definitely the greatest since the 90s and the fall of the Soviet Union. Oh no. Ay, ay, ay.
Un momento.
You never want to hear un momento in a Cuban car. By necessity, basically every Cuban driver has to be an expert mechanic. There you go. There's no mechanic shop in Cuba. Everyone has to do it themselves. Javier, hola.
Hola.
¿Cómo estás? Our driver has made a pit stop to pick up his entire family.
Mientras que ustedes vayan al castillo,
Okay.
se metan un poquito a la playa.
Qué bueno, bueno. So apparently not far from Cienfuegos is a castle that was built in the 1700s. Let's go check it out. Apparently you're gonna take like a little boat to get to it. Whew. All right. So apparently, para ir embargo, toma ¿cuántos minutos?
Rápido, 7 minutos.
7 minutos.
¿Dónde tú vas muy lejos?
¿Es seguro?
Claro, claro.
I think I would trust to keep it with a boat.
Bonita, muy bonita.
There's a big sign over there.
Ahí ese control.
Bienvenidos a Cuba
sí,
Socialista.
Sí. Control de embarcaciones.
Control.
Ellos.
Oh,
Ahí está ellos los puntos.
okay.
Controlan embarcaciones aquí en Cuba.
Control de embarcaciones.
Aunque tenga papeles, no importa. Ellos
Ah.
controlan todo.
Ah.
Ellos controlan.
Perhaps in the past, probably not right now, you could take a boat into this little bay right here, and this would be your first glimpses of Cuba.
Hotel.
Esta casa parece muy vieja, muy antigua.
Hotel, renta.
Ah, ¿es un hotel este?
¿Cómo está?
Ah, bueno.
Antiguo.
¿Cómo te llamas?
Maura.
Maura? Okay. Maura is taking us to the castle from the 17th century. She is the daughter of the boat driver. Histórico, sí. Mucha historia en Cuba.
Mucho.
Mucha historia trágica.
Sí.
Eso también. ¿Vos estás en la universidad?
Ya terminé.
¿Ya terminaste? Aquí es gratis, ¿no? La universidad.
¿Aquí? La
Sí.
pensión, sí.
Ah,
La
bueno.
pensión médica es gratis. Todo.
¿Y ahora tenéis un trabajo?
Sí.
Ok. ¿Y
Tengo
cuánto,
que ver a mi niña.
¿Y cuánto paga al mes?
4.000.
4.000.
Solo 4.000.
4.000. 4.000.
O 2.000.
Así que muchos cubanos tienen que tener 2 trabajos, ¿no?
Sí, para mantener. Y mucho más cuando tiene su hijo.
Wow. Hola. Buenas tardes. ¿Es gratis ver el castillo?
Hay que pagar allí 500 pesos a los extranjeros.
500 pesos.
Sí.
25 para los cubanos y 500 para los extranjeros. ¿Y si soy cubano?
No.
Okay. Here we are. King of another castle. Castle once more. Wasn't expecting a castle like you.
¿Y de qué país?
Los Estados Unidos.
Oh, me encanta eso.
Un gusto, un gusto.
Gusto que nos tiene hasta aquí. Ese presidente loco, pero bueno para ustedes, no sé.
Mira, vení. Cuba y los Estados Unidos.
Sí.
Somos humanos.
El mandá, es verdad
Sí,
que sí.
sí.
Muy chica, muy linda, muy bonita.
Sí, bueno.
Y él también
Ah,
muy bonito.
man.
Los americanos estuvieron aquí 1902.
1902.
Nace la nueva república, pasamos de colonia a neocolonia,
Sí.
y es la Marina de Guerra Americana quien está aquí en la fortaleza.
So this was apparently built by the Spanish to protect against pirates coming from the Dutch, the British. Yeah, pirating. Very capitalist activity. Not cool. Apparently Christopher Columbus was here. That lovable fellow. Very non-controversial. But yeah, I'm kind of happy that the Cuban revolutionaries did not follow in the footsteps of the Russians and the Chinese and start tearing down old medieval buildings. Yeah, Cuba has buildings dating back to the 1500s. And the architecture is pretty impressive. Of course, among all the other extremely surreal things about being in Cuba is the fact that there's literally no other tourists here. Since the flight over, I've seen no other tourists. I think there was like one other Asian couple on the flight over. I don't know where they went. Probably went to Havana and then bounced like any sane person would. Yeah, and here we are traveling across the island. Like a couple of nutcases. But you must be used to this. You grew up in a communist setting.
We're a very developed country.
Really? Europe is
Compared
developed?
to this, yeah.
I think we're going to go a little bit further. I think we're not just going to stop here. We're going to go deeper into Cuba, as we do. Deeper and harder. I'll see you in the next one, wherever we are. Nos vemos. Hasta luego.